Tonight on Paranormal.
It is Monday, September 5th, 2022, and we're on our way to Hinsdale, New York to check out the infamous Hinsdale Dandy House.
1973, Father Alfonso tried doing a structural exorcism.
There is something really hot out there.
And one of these chairs went flying across the room.
Is there anybody in this room right now with us?
And then in the 70s, they believe that a UFO went over here.
Hello?
You will hear howling, but everybody stays hears howling.
We just lost power.
You can't do an exorcism on a thing.
So it is September 5th, 2022, and we're on our way to upstate New York to check out the infamous Hinsdale Dandy House. This is a pretty old case from the mid-1970s that involved the Dandy family, and things allegedly got so bad for them while they were living there that they had the house exorcised by a priest, not once, but on 2 separate occasions. How are you feeling about this, Miranda?
Prepared for anything.
Well, that makes one of us at least.
Well, that's because you can't really prepare. So as long as you're prepared to not be prepared, then you're prepared.
Sage words.
In 1999, Claire wrote the book Echoes of a Haunting, recounting her family's experiences in the home, a story that was later featured on the docu-television series A Haunting. The first thing I did when Crypto decided to start research into this case was to read Clara's book, and to be honest, I loved it, and it provided some really interesting insight into the family's dynamics, as well as the claims of activity. Then our next step was to begin our own historical research and see what, if anything, we were able to corroborate. The Dandys moved in on July 18th, 1970. Originally from Buffalo, New York, they were looking for a fresh start in the country. When they found the small 19th century home with its newly dug pond and ample woods, it seemed perfect. But on the day of their arrival, the Dandys discovered their new home filled with thousands of swarming bees. Exterminators were called to remove them, but recurrent infestations continued for months.
One of the interesting things about the Dandy case is that most of the experiences happened outside of the house first.
One afternoon, Clara's 16-year-old son, Mike, and a friend saw a strange young man walking on their road. They followed him to see what he was up to. Although he never seemed to acknowledge the other boys, he suddenly stepped behind a tree and out of sight. When Mike and his friend reached the spot, there was no trace of him. Mike's friend allegedly asserted that they had just seen a ghost. On another occasion, Clara was walking one of the family dogs down a wooded trail behind the house when she began to hear what she took to be music, reminiscent of Gregorian chanting emanating from the forest. It wasn't long, however, before the strange disturbances began to occur inside the home. One evening, while watching television, a letter opener seemed to appear from nowhere, jutting out of a photo hanging on the living room wall. Alarmed, the family elected to sleep together in the master bedroom. According to Clara's book, once they had settled down, the sound of pacing footsteps were heard coming from the first floor all night long. Small objects began to disappear or be found out of place. Radios and appliances frequently malfunctioned, and unusual knocks and unidentifiable sounds in the house became commonplace. The bedroom of the youngest daughter, Mary, always seemed colder than the rest of the house, and allegedly possessed an oppressive atmosphere that made it impossible for the child to sleep in it. The family frequently caught glimpses of figures walking in their yard, only to rush out and find no one there, and on other occasions would see figures standing or moving by the windows inside the home when they knew it to be unoccupied. The mounting fear for her family led Clara to consult with Father Alphonsus Trebold, a priest at St. Bonaventure University in nearby Olean, New York. The involvement of Father Trebold with this case was critical not only for the family at the time, but trying to understand the case now, thanks to his records at St. Bonaventure. He visited the Dandys numerous times over the years, especially when it became a bit of a media circus after the newspapers got a hold of the Dandys' story. Clara writes in her book that whenever Father Al would come around, all the activity would stop. His initial diagnosis of the situation, and it's one that I agree with mostly, was that it was a poltergeist event and not connected to the house or the property.
Poltergeist is a German word that means noisy ghost.
However, in parapsychology, it's a term used to denote disruptive psychic phenomenon caused by a living individual and not a ghost or a spirit. On April 14th, 1974, in a final effort to rid the family of the activity that had plagued them for nearly 4 years, Father Alphonsus Trebold and Alex Tanos, a famed psychic, allegedly attempted to exorcise the house. According to Clara's book, once the ritual started, the house began to scream. For a short time, their efforts seemed to have an effect. The mood of the family brightened, and they thought their ordeal was over. Within a few months, however, the strange disturbances resumed. In September of 1974, the Dandy family declared bankruptcy, and on October 17th, they left the house. The property changed hands several times in the following years before falling into abandonment. In 2016, it was purchased by paranormal investigator Daniel Klass, who sought to preserve the home as a piece of paranormal history.
When going into a potentially negative place, I'm not scared. I think that that's probably the last thing you want to be. I think you want to be in control of your emotions.
We are kind of in the middle of nowhere here.
Uh-huh. Literally nothing.
Ooh, dead end.
Da-da.
Da-da-da-da. So this, I think, is the road. Maybe this could even be the field where Mike and one of the neighbor boys saw what they thought was the ghost of a young boy. Oh man, there it is. Oh.
Look at those window gates.
Well, Miranda, it's game time.
Hi.
Hi. All right, Billy. So, however you would like to start, wherever you would like to start.
I usually like to start in Michael's room. This is Michael's room. He is Michael Dandy. So this was the side that he used to sleep on. When Michael was sleeping, these shelves had books and whatnot on them, and in the middle of the night, they came flying down at him.
I've heard that story, yeah. So these were the shelves right here.
These are the shelves, but that's not the books or anything, you know.
Okay.
There's no books on there, but so there's his stuff right here.
This is bigger than my room when I was growing up.
So that was the activity in here.
Have you had any personal experiences in life?
I've been like lightly touched in here.
Okay.
Nothing bad. We did have a guest that was sleeping on the bed. She stated that something came flying off of there. There was a ball that is upstairs now. This house was built in 1853. There's history down here too. Nick Groff is here, and he was doing an investigation, and one of these chairs went flying across the room.
Okay.
Flying, I don't know if it went, you know, which way it went.
Yeah.
But one of the chairs went.
Was it one of these plastic green? Or
No,
was it...
one of the metal ones.
Interesting, okay.
And you will get a lot of good EVPs down here from a male voice. He sounds dominant, like he's stern in his when he comes over.
EVP stands for electronic voice phenomenon. These are usually sounds or voices that are picked up on a tape when you don't hear them in the moment. Typically, ghost hunters think that EVPs are caused by some kind of spirit or ghost that's trying to communicate with them.
Okay, so as I stated, I felt tugging down here like a child tugging at my pant leg, tapping on your shoulders. I felt that down here in the living room. I stayed here a few times on that couch, and that couch shook. Like it's either telling me, hey, it's time to go to bed, or you're not sleeping on my couch. 1973, Father Afonso from St. Bonaventure tried doing a structural exorcism.
I've heard the story, yep.
And he did it in the living room.
Okay.
And the house literally screamed. And it didn't want it. So they didn't finish it at all. But it was said this is the area.
Okay.
Many guests have felt that couch move, not just me.
Now, I know I asked you this off camera, but you said that when you were lying on the couch, there were some other people with you, and did they feel the vibration themselves? They did.
They did,
Okay.
and two of them, two different separate occasions, neither one got any sleep at all. The shaking was just nonstop.
Now, is this couch original to
No.
is anything in the house original to previous owners?
Yes.
Okay.
That mirror,
Uh-huh.
that chest, those two are original.
Are we talking dandy era? or-
Dandy. This doll
Interesting.
here's from the house. And this tall doll is original with the house. This is Beth's room. This is said to be one of the portals.
Portals are areas that some paranormal investigators believe are doorways where paranormal activity can manifest that isn't necessarily tied to that particular location. It's coming in from someplace else.
Now, I assume, would there have been maybe a wall here in her
Yes.
time that it was modified?
Yep.
Okay.
So now upstairs. This is the master bedroom, the dandy's room. I've got a lot of, like, nudging. Sitting on the bed,
Okay.
nudging, like, tapping on my back in here. In the closet, there's an eerie, high energy feeling, like a heavy feeling in the closet. Now, this is the portal. When Dan got the house in 2016, he had to have like beekeepers because there was over 250,000 bees that nested in here, and the flies were horrible. As I was in here by myself, I got nudged on the head, like
Okay.
a light tap on my head. I was right here on the bed, and that was just a little bit ago.
This evening?
Yes.
Oh, all right.
And then when I went downstairs, I plainly heard footsteps.
And they sounded like coming from up here in
Yeah.
Mary's room, or just
Yeah,
one?
they're coming from this area.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Is that a common occurrence?
It
here?
is. Some people hear footsteps all the time.
Okay.
Right now, I have chills in here. It's hot. I'm hot, but
Yeah,
I
it's-
got chills.
It's
just-
warm in here.
You will get nudging, tapping. At least I do. Because I'm always saying those things give me a sign. But it's not mean.
What would you say the predominant feeling in the home is for people? Is it one of comfort and safety?
I feel
apprehension?
safe here. There's times I'll feel sadness. Like tonight, it's just a feeling. Like they're ready for guests tonight.
Hey, fingers crossed. Thank you for your hospitality in advance.
I heard the chanting, like drums, banjos, and flutes playing, and they said that's the Native Americans coming off the hill. You can just hear them plain as day sometimes, especially when it's really quiet. You can hear them. And then here is the map for outside. The haunted forest, he's got them marked where you can and can't go. There's a giving tree up there that people do their offerings
Right, okay.
for the spirits being welcoming. And around the pond, you get it. If you walk around the whole pond, you get a really strong feeling like you are not to walk around that pond.
Okay, interesting.
You will hear howling. Just about everybody stays here is howling. Don't know what it is, but
Oh, okay. Unknown. Outside, inside?
outside. And sometimes you'll hear growling. And that almost sounds like a man. like a male, like growling. It's like a weird.
So not like an animal, it sounds more human? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Something else. And then in the 70s, from, everything that I've read, researched, they believe that a UFO went over here. There's 2 different times that they try to do a structural exorcism. You can't do an exorcism on a thing. We call it a structural.
Right.
And like I said, the one time the house screamed. Another time I was told the house looked like it was breathing.
It's bizarre. Okay.
Yes. So it's like almost like the house too has feelings. It sounds strange, but the house could be a spirit itself. I don't know. I just feel it.
So would you say maybe this place is, I hate to say it, but alive in a sense?
I didn't want to really come out and say yes. I do believe that. I don't know how other people feel. I don't know how Dan, the owner, feels about it. I do feel like the house is alive.
After finishing our tour with Billy, we began to bring in and set up all of our equipment to monitor the location. That night we ran 4 static cameras, one in the kitchen, one in the middle bedroom, one in the parlor, and one in the cellar, as well as 2 thermal imaging cameras, one in the parlor and the second one upstairs to cover all 3 bedrooms. We also placed an array of environmental meters in Mary's room, where the portal is supposed to be, recorded by their own locked-off camera with audio.
We started our investigation with some baseline readings. Essentially, we're monitoring environmental factors, and we look for any correlations to the claims of activity.
It's go time. Moving outside. So this is McMahon, and this is where sort of the activity, I guess, started for the family. It was outside of the house itself on the grounds. Make sure we want to keep an eye out for any animals too while we're out here.
Yeah.
We know we've already seen a couple deer and a whole lot of toads.
There's a deer running right there.
Oh, yeah, I see him on thermal. So this front porch right here is where Clara Dandy was sleeping one night, I guess in the 70s. And she described it as she was woken up by this bright white light that seemed to come from, she thought, above the house, like in the sky above the house.
Yeah.
It came in the porch windows here. And her son Mike, whose room was right there on the side, he saw the light too. It woke him up, and he thought it was coming in directly through his window. Now, obviously, both the porch and that window face the road and the driveway. So, like, what's to say it wasn't a car that stopped? Maybe somebody got lost, looking to find a phone to use in the night or something. There is something really hot out there. Look, what is that, Miranda?
It's a deer.
You see him?
Yeah, to your right. Yep, right there where your beam is. You see the eyes?
Yep. Man, there are animals everywhere out here.
Probably because there aren't that many people and there's water over there.
Yeah. That's the pond over there. You want to go take a look at the pond?
Yeah. Factors such as animal sounds, especially in a location like this where you've got like a body of water, it can definitely be confusing to people not just investigating, but people staying there and sort of misinterpret those sounds as something that's maybe paranormal.
A really nice little dock. Before we go in, you want to just check out the path towards the offering tree?
Yeah.
Welcome to Glastonbury Mountain. Watch your footing here. Well, I think we found the tree of offering.
so.
Wow. This is amazing. Wow, this is really cool.
Look at the bow. There's definitely an animal in the back over there.
Where?
Somewhere over there. I hear a footfall.
Hello? I can't see anything on thermal. There is an animal. He's hiding. Right. Nick and Miranda entering the kitchen, the Hinsdale House. This is obviously where we have our central command set up. So we got the stairs up to the second floor here. Suppose we can head into the living room first. Now this is right below the master bedroom, I guess. And this couch, Billy said, vibrated for her while she was sleeping on it. I mean, it's not super wiggly, actually. I mean, it's got a little bit of shake.
Yeah.
Floors aren't too bouncy in here.
No.
So it makes me think it wasn't just somebody walking around. And I guess other people felt it shake when she did. This is kind of a cold, wet, depressing place. So yeah, we've got this pipe here and a sump pump. Now obviously if that sump pump kicked on, that would potentially cause some vibration through this pipe. And I think this pipe runs right under where that couch is. I think this is like a drain line. Tell you what, Miranda, if I were to stay down here for just a minute or two and give that pipe a shake while you have a seat on the couch, you mind just telling me what you feel?
Yeah.
Just give me a shout when you're in position.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think she's right about me. I'm shaking the pipe now. Shaking the pipe, shaking the pipe, shaking the pipe. Now let's give it a couple. Anything?
Yeah.
Could you feel it?
I mean, knocking, like, you could kind of feel in the wall, but when you did the shaky thing, you could feel it.
Was it pretty intense or was it mild?
No, I'm mild.
All right, so I actually buy the pipe in the basement probably. If that sump pump was kicking on, because that feeds right into that.
Wouldn't they hear it?
Maybe, but if you're also in a place that's known for paranormal activity, sometimes people don't always jump to logical, natural explanations. I mean, we see that all the time. Not saying that's what she did, but
Yeah.
you never know.
We continued with baselines and our other observations until about 4 a.m. when we decided to get some rest.
Okay. The light next to me I assume it just burned out.
So it's 4 o'clock on the dot here, and We just lost power. We were just shooting some B-roll shots for the episode, and all the lights, all the equipment just turned off. We're gonna go check the breakers and see if we can figure out what's going on.
It's straight back.
Okay. On, off, what is that? Right there, that's off. But not the mains. The mains are on. Okay. Hold on to your butts.
The power outage wasn't the result of anything supernatural, but due to the damage from the storm the night before. It did mean that unless we got power back, our DVRs were offline and we had to consider switching all of our cameras out for battery-powered units.
So it's 8:15 here on night 2. Luckily we did manage to get power back. Thank you, National Grid. So all of our equipment, all of our cameras are rolling and recording. Miranda and I are about to head up to the offering tree that Dan has in the woods here to present some corn and some squash to the land and any of the native people that might be here. On our second night, our plan was to begin more focused investigations of the alleged hotspots of activity and try to communicate or make contact with any spirit or presence that might be there. Here we are. All right, so I'm just going to set up a static night vision camera out here facing the offering tree just so we can monitor this location throughout the night. So the offerings Miranda and I brought to the tree this evening are a piece of corn and a piece of squash. These two plants are members of a group of plants known as the Three Sisters, corn, maize, and squash, which served as a staple diet for many of the native people in North America. So, good evening. If there is anybody here, my name is Nick. This is my friend Miranda. We come here as friends. We don't mean you any harm or disrespect. We know that this is your land, and we're here because we would like to speak with anybody who might be connected to or attached to this land or this place. And as a token of our understanding, we would like to offer you some corn and some squash. I'm just going to place them here under this tree for you. These offerings are from both of us, and we give them to you in the spirit of friendship and friendly communication. We're going to leave your forest now and give you back your space. Thank you for letting us pass peacefully. You hear movement? I mean, we know there's deer all over the place. It could have just been a deer. I thought I heard like twigs breaking and like a... Okay. This is Nick and Miranda recording at the Hinsdale House, night 2. Time is 10:21 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are sitting on the dock by the pond. Well, this is different, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not every time we're investigating literally on a body of water. You can definitely hear traffic on the highway to our left.
Yeah.
That could definitely throw some people off and make you think you're hearing something supernatural coming from the woods or the grounds, but it's just sound carrying and bouncing off the mountains behind the house. Kind of creates a little weird echo reverb effect. We've been hearing it for the 2 days that we've been here.
So good evening. If anybody is out here, my name's Nick.
I'm Miranda.
If there's anybody out here with us this evening, you're welcome to come and sit with us and join us here. This is really a peaceful spot. Is there anybody out here by the pond with us this evening? Would you be able to tell us your name, please? I think I just got like a whiff of like, it almost smelled like cigarette or tobacco. I mean, the
I smell like
pond's got-
smoke, but not like cigarette.
You
Like,
smelled smoke?
yeah, for a second.
I mean, somebody could have a fire tonight. That's always wrong.
Yeah.
Do you remember a family that used to live here named the Dandies? Okay. Frogs, I assume?
Or fish, like before.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that was an animal.
It's dinner time for them.
From pond to couch.
There was a lot of contamination going on out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Feels a little cooler in here to me than other parts of the house, but
I think it's definitely cooler down here than it is upstairs, for sure.
yeah.
But it's also, I think it's more open in here, so it's probably a little bit better airflow. I mean, temperature says 70.2. So hello, my name is Miranda. This is my friend Nick.
Hello?
Is there anybody in this room right now with us?
If there is anybody in here, would you be able to tell us your name, please? Click.
That might be Dan's CCTV cameras. They do click every once in a while. I think I just heard it again. We've heard there's been some people who have tried to sleep on that couch over there, and maybe that might be someone's spot in particular, because people tend to get nudged off of that couch. Is the person who does that nudging here with us right now?
How many people are in this house tonight?
I do feel like I hear beeping coming from outside.
Outside?
Yeah, like a beep, 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 beep.
An electrical or mechanical noise?
Yeah, sounds like it.
EMF is jumping around a little bit in here.
When it comes to electromagnetic fields, there are a couple theories at play in paranormal research. Some investigators speculate that ghosts or spirits give off or cause disturbances in natural magnetic fields. Laboratory testing, on the other hand, has demonstrated that certain individuals subjected to high voltage magnetic fields at certain frequencies will sometimes have religious or paranormal experiences. The sensation that there's somebody in the room with them or that they're being touched.
Oh, whoa.
Huh.
That is literally burying the needle. I gotta change our range here. It's like 1 milligauss, 2 milligauss. Yeah, that's all coming off the Wi-Fi. I'm actually at some distance here too. Hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Hello? Is that the fridge?
I don't know.
Mark time 105. We just heard a strange noise. Hello? Is there anybody here with us? Anybody in the kitchen?
We heard a story when the Dandies lived here. Clara saw a little girl coming and walking into this room. Was that you?
If there is anybody here with us, would you be able to tell us your name, please? Do you remember a little girl named Mary Dandy who used to sleep in that room?
Was that someone else's room before Mary inhabited it?
I've heard that there's a doorway in that bedroom that may lead to someplace else. Is that true? Did you come through that doorway? I thought I heard like tapping coming from there.
Oh.
Is there anybody in Mary's room?
Is there something special about that room in particular?
I'm just gonna go into this room over here. If there's anybody in here, you don't have to be frightened. Feels cooler in here to me than it did out there.
We also saw some spots on that wall with the thermal that might be a little bit leakage.
Oh, that's right.
And I think they thought it was colder in there. Is that accurate usually?
Yeah, the Dandies thought that Mary's room was always freezing. Did you like Mary, the little girl who used to sleep in here? Well, I want to leave the cameras and data loggers out, but how would you feel about hauling it and getting a couple hours rack before we gotta go to our next location?
I think that sounds like a good idea. After conducting the field investigation, we then had to sit down and do the review. When it comes to review, it's a lot of sitting and watching. It takes a very, very long time because we have lots of cameras, lots of audio equipment, so there's a whole bunch of different devices. We have to sync up to the computer and then sit and listen to hours upon hours or watch hours upon hours of footage.
So right now I'm reviewing evidence from the second night of our investigation. When Miranda and I were in the living room area, we ended up hearing a kind of strange noise when we were taking EMF readings. At the time I kind of thought it might have been a refrigerator compressor kicking on. We did get it on the camera's audio. Now I have to sync it up with our digital audio and see if we got anything on that. Right there on the waveform. Almost does sound like a refrigerator compressor cycling to me, which is exactly what I said at the time. We are walking around a little bit, so it also could be that we're making some floorboards creak or vibrate in a different area of the house. The Hinsdale Dandy case was kind of a little bit different than some of the other cases that CPI investigates. They don't just say the place is haunted. There's a history of UFO phenomenon associated with the location and howling or growling creatures out in the woods. So
All sorts of strange stuff allegedly going on there. Our equipment was rolling for a little over 48 hours, and unfortunately we didn't come back with anything unusual on video or audio that we didn't notice or couldn't explain.
I didn't really have any type of strange or nervous feelings. It was pretty calm.
All the environmental conditions that we looked at Hinsdale remained more or less within normal parameters.
When we were doing our first set of baselines, we did find some areas that had very high EMF. A lot of this is probably due to it's an old house and the wiring that's there.
We were able to provide some potential natural explanations for the claims at the Hinsdale House. I really think we nailed the vibrations that people are feeling on that sofa in the living room. Personally, I think this is just water or even air moving through that drain line in the basement and causing vibrations. I still had a great time investigating the Hinsdale House, and I really hope that we're able to get back there someday and continue our research.